Hey guys, welcome to the ultimate bubble and paystack course. In this tutorial, we'll be talking about everything you need to know about integrating your paystack with bubble. Okay, we're going through lessons like Paystack Setup, how to create plans, the documentation overview. We're talking about webhooks, how to create it on bubble and set it up properly on Paystack. Okay, after that, we're going on to setting up our API calls, starting with authentication, setting up relevant calls we'll be needing within the app, and then how to create a subscription table on Bubble. Moving forward, we'll be talking about Frontend Interaction, okay, how to initiate a subscription, how to manage a subscription, and how to get the subscription status. And at the end, guys, I'll be throwing in a bonus, that is how to secure your webhooks. You don't just want to set it up and then just leave it like that. You want to learn how to also secure it. Right, so guys, I want you to watch this video to the end. It promises to be a very good course. If you have not subscribed to this channel, make sure you have subscribed so that you get more wonderful content like this. Guys, let's get into it. Okay guys, in this section I'll be demonstrating just two things. The first one is how to create plans and a quick overview of the documentation. So let's get into it. Okay, on your Paystack dashboard, okay, of course you should have created a business. Okay, you should create a business, add a business, and then after doing that, that business will be highlighted here. In my case, the name of my business is Paystack and Bubble. Okay, just a test business. Okay, after doing that, you want to come to this plans tab. As you can see, I have two plans here. Okay, I've created two plans. I have the basic plan and the premium plan. Okay, it's very easy to do. I'll just take you through how I did that. Okay, so just click on the new plan button here, and here you have several fields. Okay, you have the plan name. For instance, I have basic and premium, so this is where you set the plan name, the description of the plan, the amount, and the interval. In our case, it's a monthly subscription, so we choose monthly. Okay, and that's all. And click on create, and when you do that, you'll have a plan created like this. And take note, our plans have plan code. Okay, just take note of that. We're going to be making use of that later in the course. Okay, so that's about creating plans. The second thing we should discuss here is documentation, right? It's very important as developers to be very conversant with your documentation. You don't want to shy away from documentation. So I have my documentation opened in another tab here, and you should do that too. Okay, and the URL is paystack.com/docs/API, right? And you should be on this API tab here. Okay, and the things we'll be looking at specifically in this section is authentication, transactions, customers, and subscriptions, right? So that's it for this section. Let's go to the next one. Catch you guys. Okay guys, in this section we'll be learning how to create a webhook in Bubble and set it up properly on Paystack. Okay, webhook is just if you would, a special URL that is used to send event notification to Bubble. Okay, for instance, a customer initiates a subscription. How do we know in our app that a subscription has been created or a subscription has been initiated? It is through this webhook that the notification is sent, and then we receive it as an event on our Bubble app. Let's get to that. Okay, I'm on backend workflow. Okay, backend workflows, and then you must be on a paid plan to access the backend workflow. Right, so I'll just click on create new and then new API workflow. Then I'll just label my workflow. I'll call it subscribe. Okay, so guys, always make sure you don't have space on your name like this, because it's part of a URL. It will eventually be part of a URL. Okay, so even if you want to sectionalize it, you can sectionalize with hyphen or this. Okay, so I'll just name mine subscribe. Let's configure these fields. So for now, I would say expose as a public URL, yes. And let's check this too. This working can run without authentication for now. Okay, let's check that. And the last one, to ignore privacy rule. Okay, basically check everything. Okay, it's a post request, and then not manual definition. This will be detect request data. Okay, and then we just click on this button here to generate our webhook. So I'll click on detect data and click on this URL. This is our webhook. Okay, that's copied. I'll just cancel it for now and then head to Paystack, and under the settings tab, API keys and webhook, find the webhook URL field. Okay guys, make sure you're on test mode. Right, you want to do everything on test mode, and you want to click on save. Okay, make sure you save this to commit the change. Alright guys, that's it. Let's move on. Okay guys, in this section we're learning how to authenticate, how to set up the necessary calls we'll be needing, and how to create our subscription table. So let's get into it. Okay, the first thing you want to do is to come to the plugin, right, and make sure you install API connector. Okay, I've installed mine. Then just click on add another API, and the API name will just be Paystack. Alright, and authentication type will be private key in header, right, because we'll be supplying the keys on these header fields. Right, let's quickly head to our documentation and see how to fill these fields. Alright, so come to the documentation tab, and then we click on authentication here. If you scroll down with me, this is how to authenticate. Key as authorization, and then we have the value as bearer space secret key. Okay, that's the first header, and the second one would be needing for all the calls would also be this. Okay, I clicked on transaction. So we'll be using this pair or this parameter as a means of authenticating. So, okay, so here we have the first one, which is authorization, bearer followed by secret key, and then the second one is content type, and value is application.json. Okay, so let's quickly set that up. So head back to Bubble, and under authorization, we already have it here as a key, and the value will be bearer, just as we saw it on the documentation. Then you want to put a space followed by a secret key. On the settings tab, API and webhooks, just refer to the first field, which is secret key. Okay, I'll be revealing my secret key and then copy. Okay, guys, you don't want to reveal your secret key to anyone. Your secret key is like a password, so you want to keep it really safe. Okay, that being said, and secret key copied, head back to Bubble, and then after the space, paste our secret key. Okay, and then you can just copy everything and put it here too on this optional development key. Okay, so how this works is when you're on live mode, you want to put your live secret key here, and when you're on test, you want to put it here. But since we're on test mode, it's okay, it's fine to copy it on both fields. It's all fine. Alright, and we want to set up the second header. On the documentation, the second one is content type application/JSON. So I'll just copy everything here and fix it on the API connector. Okay, so the key, so copy everything. Okay, cut this one, put the value here, and just tidy this one up like this. So guys, you want to make sure you don't have spaces or anything. Make sure it's tidied up. Okay, and then this is how to authenticate. This is how to authenticate. So you authenticate once, you don't have to set it up when you are making your calls, right? We just do it here, and then we make just our calls on the subsequent fields. Okay, the reason you want to do it like this on this section is it's more secure here, right? It's more secure here. So let's move on to setting up our calls. So guys, we'll be setting up 4 calls, just 4 calls. This first one will be the checkout. So let's get into that. Okay, so let's expand this, and then I'll just call it subscribe. Alright, so when you hit checkout is when the user initiates a subscription. Okay, that point the user wants to make a payment or subscribe. Okay, so I'll choose subscribe as the name. We'll be using it as a data, and data type is JSON. Okay, but it's a post request. We are sending data and receiving. It's a post request, and then we'll be putting a base URL here. So let's quickly go to our documentation. Like I said before, we'll be visiting our documentation a lot. So on transactions, the initialize, under initialize transactions, this is the call to initialize a transaction, right? So we just copy this URL, okay, copy the URL, head back to Bubble, then paste it like that. And the next thing we want to do is head to this data here, and copy from this curly bracket here, copy and head back to Bubble and paste it on this field. Okay guys, we are not done. Back to our documentation. If you take a closer look at this, you'd notice that there is nothing that has to do with subscription or plan. Okay, now that's because we have to add an additional parameter here. Okay, so if you scroll down a little bit and expand this show optional parameter, right, we need this parameter called plan, right? And if you take a closer look at this, it says if transaction is to create a subscription, which is what we want to do, to a predefined plan, provide plan code here. This would invalidate the value provided in amount. Alright, so what that means is when we supply a new parameter here called plan, it will invalidate this amount. Okay, so when the customer is being charged, instead of 20,000, it will be the value, the price value that is within our predefined plan. Okay, so let's just do that now. So we have the plan, we have key, okay, as plan, and then the value will be the plan ID. So let's do that. Head back to Bubble and just put a comma here, okay, because you want to add another parameter. So take note of that syntax and just press enter. Okay, format my JSON properly. Alright, so within here, plan as the key, and then the value will be the plan ID. So head back to Paystack and under the plans tab, I'll just use this one, this basic plan. Now copy the plan ID just like so. Head back to Bubble and then within this paste like that. Okay, so let's try initializing this and we should get it 200. Okay, that's a successful call, right? So this is exactly the kind of response you want to have. So we have fields like authorization URL, which is probably the most important URL, because this is the checkout URL. Okay, we'll be using that soon. Then we have access code reference, but like I said, this is the most important one. you want to pay attention to, and just click on save. Right? So let's collapse this, and then we'll create another call, add another call, and we'll be using this call to get a customer. Okay, so just name it get customer, because that's exactly what we are doing. Okay, we are using it as data because we are retrieving data. Still JSON gets. Okay, it's a get request. Oh, quick mistake there. Just remove this one and paste it here. Okay, to be the name. The name will be get customer, and here will be filled by a base URL. Okay, we'll be getting that on the Paystack documentation. So just let's scroll down. We are done with this section. Scroll down to customers. Scroll down to customers, and then find fetch customer. Okay, this one. And then here we have the base URL like this. Okay, just copy that. Let's head back to Bubble and then just put it there. Okay, so guys, something to take note of is when you have this kind of structure, okay, it simply means this part should be replaced with an actual data. So in our case, we'll be replacing it with the customer ID or the customer code. So in Bubble, to make this place dynamic, we have to use square brackets like this. Okay, so I'll just clear this like this, use square brackets, and within it I would say ID underscore customer. Okay, and when you do that, a new field will be created here. Then we want to click on not private, so we want to uncheck private, and to initialize this call would need a customer ID that has been created within that Paystack account. Right, so how do we get that? Now let's collapse this for now. When you initialize first one, this checkout, a customer will be created on Paystack. Okay, and on that customer record there will be a customer ID. Right, so let's just demonstrate that real quick. So we initialize this call, copy this URL just like that. Okay, just cancel. Then on another tab, new tab, just to initiate a transaction. Okay, and then let's simulate a successful transaction. So now we have a successful transaction. Let's go back to our Paystack. And then when you head to customer, now you'd have this. Here I've created a customer, but this is the new customer we created. Okay, so just click on it. And then we have this customer code here. So let's click on that. Back to bubble. Okay, just expand this again. Get customer, expand, and then put that value here. Okay, make sure it's not private, and then let's just initialize it. Yes, we have it 200. Okay, and we'll make use of some fields, and one of the most important one is this subscription code. Okay, so click on save, and then let's close this. That's our second call created. So guys, the next one will be get subscription. Okay, so as the name implies, we want to get a subscription. In other words, we want to get some information about a particular subscription. So we use it as data, JSON, and then it's a get request, and then we'll be supplying a base URL. So let's go back to the documentation here, and then just scroll down to subscriptions. Okay, under subscriptions, fetch subscription. Then you want to copy this base URL here, copy that, and then back to bubble, then paste it here. So just like we did in this previous call we set up, we want to replace this with square brackets, ID subscription. Okay, not private, and then we'll be putting a subscription ID here. Subscription ID. Let's collapse this one for now. Now, when we initialize this call, I said one of the data we need is the subscription ID, and is within this call. So we can just get it by initializing this call, and here this subscription code, this is what we need here. So I just copy that, cancel it, collapse it, and expand this one and paste it here. Okay, so let's initialize this too, and we have it 200 again. So we'd also have some very important fields here, okay, which we'll be using later. So let's click on save. Okay guys, the next one we want to set up is get subscription link. Okay, so add another call, just give it a name, get subscription link, and then this link will be used by the user or the customer to check their subscription status, basically to manage their subscription, okay, and that is maybe to cancel a subscription, check their subscription status, or update their card. Okay, so how do we get that? Just head to the documentation, and still under subscription, I want to come to this section that says generate update subscription link. Okay, then we just copy this URL. Okay, copy that, head back to Bubble and paste it here. Paste it here. And guys, as usual, this signifies, okay, this structure signifies that we replace it with dynamic values. And how to do that? Just like we've been doing. Okay, you replace it with square brackets and then put a label ID subscription. So we have a new field here, and then we just pass in the subscription ID. We have that on our clipboard already. Okay, so just put it there, and then uncheck private. So let's initialize that. Okay, so we have it 200, and then this is the link, right? This is the link we are looking for. I'll save first. I'll copy this, save, and just put that link on a new tab and see what it looks like. Okay, so like I said, this is a Paystack hosted page, and then we have like information like the customer email, the status, okay, the status of the subscription, their card number, their expiry dates, the expiration of that card. Okay, they can replace their card and cancel their subscription. Okay, so that's it for the calls. All right, set up the calls. So guys, if you've made it this far, congratulations. Okay, we just set up 4 calls successfully. All right, so in the next section we'll be creating a subscription table. Let's head to data. Yeah, I have this subscription table created already. I'll just delete it and just create it from scratch. Okay, I also have an option set has been created. I'll delete that too so that I can show you guys how everything is done. So starting from the scratch, I would create a table called subscription. So create. So now I'll be creating some fields. Okay, the first one will be customer email. Customer email. and that would be text. Okay, we have dates renew. Okay, and it's a date. Okay, this is basically the date this subscription will be renewing, right? So we also have date start. Okay, as date, that is when the subscription started. We're creating ID plan. This will be the plan code. This will be text. We also have ID customer as a customer ID. It's a text. Have ID subscription. It's also a text. Okay. Price as the price of the subscription, and this will be a number. And the status of the subscription. Okay. Is it active? Is it cancelled? Is it non-renewing? So that will be text. And then this subscription has an owner, so we'll be linking it to the user. So another field, the owner of the subscription, and this will be a user. And then the last one will be plan. Okay, but for us to create that, we would need option sets. So let's head to option sets. I'll skip tutorial, create new one, and then that was just call that plan. Okay. Another plan, for this tutorial we have two plans. We have basic and we have the premium. Okay, so basic and premium, right? I'll be giving these options attributes, and the first one will be the price. Should be a number, and we'll be pre-filling that in a bit. We have price number. Another attribute will be ID plan. Okay, and it will be a text. That is the ID of that plan, the ID code. So do that, and then let's just fill those attributes. So for basic, modify attributes. For our basic, it's 10,000. Putting that here, 10,000. Clear this one. This will be filled by the plan ID. So let's just head to Paystack, our Paystack dashboard. I'll go to plans. Okay. And then for basic, the plan ID, this is the plan ID. So just copy that back to our option set. Just paste it there and make sure there are no spaces. Alright. So click on save, and we'll do same thing for premium. Click on modify attribute. Price is 25,000. And then quickly let's get the plan code. It's this one, premium, right? Just click on that. Okay, so we are done with that, and then back to data type, and then we can create our plan field now. So plan, the field type will be plan. Okay guys, that's all we need for our subscription data type. Right. And for user, we just need the email, and that is provided by default. Okay, so guys, that's it for this section. Let's go to the next one. Okay guys, in this section we'll be learning how to map our subscription request data with our subscription table. After then, we'll be building the user interaction on the front end to enable the user interact with the calls we just set up in the last section. And we'll also be looking at the way to get an updated status of the user's account. Right, so let's get into that. Before we move on, I quickly want to take you guys through some things I've done. Okay, I have a user. Okay, I have one user on this app, which is this customersemail.com, because for this section, a user has to be signed in. So I have a user, and I also have a subscription record. Okay, I have a subscription record, but it's mostly empty. Okay, the only field I have is the customer email and the owner, that is the creator of the subscription. Now guys, I want you to think about this, this creation, this UX, like this in your app. Say when a user is signing up for the first time, you could also create a subscription thing or a subscription record for that user, fill in the customer email. Okay, the owner will be filled by default because they will be the one creating it, and then just have it there. All right, so when we are mapping our request data with that user's subscription, we wouldn't need to create a subscription anymore. We'll just update the subscription. Okay, so that being said, let's move on. First thing we'll do is we set this up already in the first lesson. Okay, so just make sure you have this configuration, guys. Make sure you have this particular configuration, and let's initiate a subscription, okay, so that we can get our first request data. So guys, just click on detect data here. So make sure this is running. Okay, before we do that, let's cancel this and just get a URL. Let's get an initialization URL first before we do that. So come to plugin, Paystack, and then we'll just want to initialize this so we can get that URL. So let's expand this and just reinitialize this. Okay, so one of the things we get is this checkout URL. So I'm just going to copy that, cancel it, and then go back to my workflow, and then just the text data again to listen for that request data. Okay, while I'm doing that, while this one is here listening for an event, I'll just open a new tab and post that URL just like that, and then enter. Okay, so basically I will initialize, or I will initiate or simulate a successful checkout. Okay, after that I should have received the event. Alright, so I've received this successfully, and what you just want to do is to save this. So we'll be mapping most of these fields with our subscription table, that is the current user subscription table. So just save this. So let's map it, guys. Like I said, we're making changes. Make changes to a thing, and what we'll be making change to is to search for subscription, where customer email is equal to request data customer email. Now, where is this coming from? It's coming from this request data we received here. So just click on the first item. Okay, let me quickly show you guys where that email is coming from, because part of the fields we received from that payload is customer email. So click on modify types, and then just find it quickly. Okay, yeah, there you go. This one here, customer email. Okay, so we are making changes to a subscription where customer email is equal to request data customer email. So let's just add all fields. Add all fields. So we have customer email already, so we don't need to fill that anymore. Okay, date renew. Date renew will just be current time and date plus month 1. Okay, subscription will be renewed in 1 month. Start date will be current date and time. Okay, the customer ID, we can get that from the request data. So request data, this one, customer code, right? ID plan, can also get that from the request data. So that will be request data plan code. Now for subscription, we'll come back to this. For owner has been filled. Owner is the current user, and that has been created. So we don't need to fill that. For plan, we'll come back to plan. Now for price, we can get that from the request data. So that would be request data amount. Okay, so guys, this amount and plan amount is basically the same thing, but since this is more specific, let's just go with this one, plan amount. Okay guys, for status, get data from external API. Okay, and the external API would be using, it's just one of those API we set up in the last lesson. So that will be get subscription. Okay, get subscription, and here we are asked to provide a subscription code. How do we get that? You can simply get it by getting an external API again. Get an external API. I'll just bring this one down here. Get an external API, and that API provider will be get customer. Okay, and the customer will be put in here is, you can get that from this request data. So the request data customer code, okay, this one here, and then subscriptions, and then the first item, okay, and we'll look for the subscription code, right? Because part of the payload we are getting from this get customer call is the subscription, okay, and the subscription is a list, so we are getting the first one, which is the only one we have, and then we are passing in the subscription code, right? So close this, then back to this field, and what we are looking for here is the status, not the first one, but you want to have this one, the second one. Okay, this one is the call status, maybe it's a success status or it failed. This is the one that is related to that particular subscription, that is relevant to the user. Okay, so we want to choose this status here. Okay, for plan, we just want to say get an option. Okay, just bringing in our plan, everything, all plans, then close, then filter it. Filtered. Okay, just bring this down like this. Okay, then we add a constraint, and the constraint we'll be adding is where this plan, the ID, remember we set up an ID, okay, that is the ID code we set. So where this ID is the request data plan code. Okay, so basically what we are saying is fill this field with a plan ID that matches the one that is being received. Okay, for subscriptions, I would say get data from external API. Okay, and the API we're referring to is get customer. So we can get the subscription code from this call here. Okay, one of the fields it returns is the subscription ID. So we can just get it from this call here. So this is dynamic. We fill in the customer ID. We can get that from the request data customer code. Okay, then subscriptions. Now subscriptions is a list, so that's why we have subscriptions, but we are going for the first item because we just have one subscription. So click on subscription, first item, subscription code. So we've successfully matched everything. Okay, so let's close this and quickly do something before we do the front-end interaction. So let's just go to index. I'll go to the design tab. Guys, here I just have a simple dummy pricing cards. Okay, just have a simple dummy card. You'll be filling it very soon, and then I have a text here that just shows the email of the current user. So just to tell us if someone is logged in or not. But before we come to this, let's quickly do two things. You want to get a URL that a customer will be returned to when a payment is successful or when a payment fails. Okay, it's called return URL. Right? So you want to get a particular page depending on the direction of your app. You want to get a particular page, okay, where the customer will be returned to. So in your case, it could be a thank you page or something like that. But we are just using this index page for that. I'll just click on that, copy it, go to my Paystack dashboard, settings, API and webhooks. Okay, and this URL here, this test callback URL, just paste it there. Okay, so like that, when a subscription is successful or when it fails, it comes back to this particular page you've provided. And then the second thing we want to do here is we've initialized. So we need to remove this initialize keyword so it doesn't communicate with our app that we want to initialize again. So we remove that and just save changes. Okay, so back to bubble. What we want to quickly do here is I'll just sign in. So I'll sign in as a user here. Okay, so I'm signed in. Okay, so guys, make sure you are signed in before you continue. And then here, let's build the front-end interaction. Okay, that is how the users will interact with our payment function. And so what you want to do is you want to fill these containers with the data of your pricing. Now you can be getting your pricing from anywhere, you can be getting it from your database, but here I'm getting it from my option set, so yours could be different. The most important thing is to make sure you are getting your pricing from somewhere. So just click on this, and the data type will be plan. Okay, option set, plan, the basic plan. Okay, just be doing the same thing for this, but to be premium. So plan, premium. Okay, now so I want to attach a workflow to this. Choose plan button. Yeah, so guys, the API I want to call is subscribe. Okay, but guys, before we do that, let's make sure we can pass in data dynamically. So let's go back to plugins quickly, expand this. Now right now we just have this body here, this raw data here. We want to make sure we can pass in data dynamically. Okay, right now would have something like this. Click on subscribe, Paystack would just have something like this, which is not the best way to go. I'll just delete this, go back, and before then make sure this is action. Okay, make sure it's action, make sure you can use it on your workflow. Okay, so here I would make them dynamic. Okay. by just putting these brackets here. Okay, so when you do that, you get new fields here. And what I'm just going to do is copy this and paste it here and call this label email. Okay, email. Now amount doesn't matter because this will overwrite it, so we really don't need the amount. Okay, but then I would still make it dynamic, but just make it private. Okay, so just call that amount. It's a price, then make it private. This won't be private, this will be public, so we can populate it from the front end. And also plan ID. Okay, I'm just putting my ID here and uncheck private. Okay, so on our front end we would have something more structured. Okay, so we have something like this now. Alright. So customer email would be current user email. And the plan would refer to the parent group, this group here. Remember we passed in the plan option set here. Okay, so we'll just refer to that group. Parent group plan, the plan ID. Right, after doing that, open an external website. And then we just pass in result of step 1 authorization URL. Okay, remember after calling this, part of the parameters we get is the URL. So let's test it. Just go back to review mode and run it. Okay, so guys, let's just be sure nothing is in our database, so we'll be double sure it's really working. So back to data, subscription, and our subscription is indeed empty except for these 2 fields. Okay, so let's initialize the subscription. So choose plan. Yes, working as expected. An external website is opened, and then this simulates a successful transaction. Pay, and then it goes back to that return URL we filled, which is our index page. Okay, I'll just allow that to load. Okay, so back to our index page but on a new tab. So let's close that. Back to our database, and let's just reload this. Very good. This is exactly what you want to have. So let's just open that up. Okay, so we have customer email, we have customer ID. Basically, we have everything that we are supposed to have. The status is active. Yeah, but this price, okay, make sure you are dividing by 100, right? I think this is only the thing we have to go back to do. Okay, but apart from that, see guys, everything is successful. So let's just save that. So here on this backend workflow here, divide the price by 100 to get the correct amount. Plan amount divided by 100. Okay. Okay guys, the next thing I'll be demonstrating is how to get the updated status of the user subscription. That is how to get the status. Is it active? Has it ended? Okay, you want to get an updated status all the time. And on Paystack, we just have one webhook field. So we can't really set a listener for that, or we can't set up an API event for that the way we did for subscription, right? But there's a workaround for it. Let's just get into that. Now I'll be anchoring this to when page is loaded. Now yours could be different. Okay, your own event could be when an element is visible, say when the settings page is visible. Okay, it could be anything. So I'll be saying when condition is true. Okay, and I want it to happen just once. And the condition is when page is loaded entirely. Okay, I want to make change to a thing. Make change to a thing, and what I want to make change to is the user subscription. So that will be subscription where customer email is equal to current user email. Okay, first item, and the field I want to change specifically is the status. So what this does is whenever the user loads the page for the first time, just once, it checks for the current status of that user's subscription. Okay, so even when a user cancels their subscription or something happens to their card, they were unable to be charged for the next month, you would still able to get this status, okay, as soon as the user loads the page. And then we want to change the status field. Okay, and I'm just getting data from an external API. We're using one of those calls we set up in our last section to get data from external API. So we're using get subscription. Okay, so to get the subscription, just be filling in the subscription ID. Okay, so to get the subscription ID, we can just refer to the current user subscription since the subscription is filled now on that subscription ID field. So just be to search for subscription where customer email is equal to current user email, close that. First item, and the field we are interested in is this ID subscription. Okay, let's continue our expression, and that will be subscription status. Guys, I said it the other time, not this first one, but the second one. Okay, so click on that. Right, so this way your customer will always get their updated subscription status every time. Let's go to the next one, which is the bonus section, where I'll be talking about how to secure your webhook. Okay, let's talk about Webhook Security. I'm on the API connector here, and I just want to show you something quickly. If you'd expand this with me, we have this private key here. Now, this private key protects your webhook. Okay, it protects every of your calls. Right? I said the other time it's like a password. Okay, that mustn't be leaked at all. You want to keep it safe. But think about a situation where your private key or your secret key gets leaked somehow. Okay, you want to have a added layer of security kind of. So let's get into that. So I'm just going to close this, and let's head to settings API. Okay, here let's generate a new API token. Let's just click on that. Now just name it Paystack. Okay, because I'm using it for Paystack, so just labeling something related. And you just copy this. Alright. And then let's head to Paystack. Now right here on this webhook URL, right, so just scroll to the end of the URL, add a question mark, and say API underscore token. Put an equal to, okay, and then paste that token. So you have something like this. After your webhook, / right, then a question mark followed by API underscore token, this keyword, then equal to the token itself, and click on save. Then back to Bubble, making changes to few things on this setup here. Now right now uncheck this API can be run without authentication, because we want to make sure it is run with authentication. Okay, so we uncheck this, and then we also uncheck ignore privacy rule. Right, so what that will do now is, if that token I appended with my webhook, if it does not correlate with this, right, no workflow will be run, nothing will be changed on my database. Nothing will change on my database. Basically, the action will not trigger any action, like the event, okay, would not trigger this make changes to subscription action students. So let's just try that. Let's try that. Okay, so what I will do now is to test that. I'll quickly put a workflow on this one too, because the last time we put a workflow on this, but we've not put it on this. Okay. So I just want to test something different. I want to test a subscription that is different from the subscription we had before, which is basic. I'll just go to choose plan, add an action, and the action will be subscribe. Okay. The customer email will simply be current user email, and plan will be parent group plan ID. Okay, remember we passed this plan option set on this group. All right, let's just continue that. And what we want to do next is to open an external URL as usual. Now we're getting that URL from the result of step 1 authorization URL. But before we run that, I would intentionally alter this token. Okay, so we have 9, which is the correct one, but I'll be changing it to 6. I'll be changing it to 6. Save changes. Then back to Bubble. Let's just confirm what we have in our database right now. So in our database, we have on subscription, we have basic. Okay, we have basic plan. So let's see if this is going to run with a wrong API token. So we run this now. Okay. Then we simulate a successful transaction. Okay, so let's just check what we have in our database now, if indeed it was changed, if our database was updated. So open that up, and you see, we see our basic. The workflow did not run because we have a wrong API token. So that means if someone does not have the correct credentials, okay, they can't still do anything on your app, even if they have the secret key. So cancel that, and then go back to Paystack to input the right thing. So it was 9, we changed it to 6, so now let's change it back to 9. Okay, just be sure. Okay, so save changes. Back to Bubble. I'll just run it again. So choosing a plan again. Simulate a successful transaction. A database. Just see that run. Okay, so now we have premium. Okay, because we have the right API token. So guys, that's it. That's how to, as an additional layer of security on your webhook. Okay guys, that's it. That's everything you need to know about integrating Paystack with Bubble for your current subscriptions. Of course, there are still several other things, several other transactional functions you could do with Paystack, but this video is focused on recurring subscriptions alone. All right, you don't have to do all this by yourself. You could just reach out to us at buildlaunch.dev for related services like this, okay, and other related bubble services. All right, don't also forget to subscribe to this channel. Okay, you'll be helping this channel a lot by subscribing and just hitting the thumbs up button. Thanks guys, see you in the next one.